Welcome. In this video we'll be taking a quick look at Fabian, an epic grade healer class Elune. Looking at his base stats at 6-star max level, he has 26.1k HP with an attack of 4.7k and a physical and magic defense of 2.4 and 2.5k respectively. His base speed at 113 does put him as one of the faster Elunes, allowing him to move very quickly in a battle to get those heals up more often. As you transcend him up to the max of +5, he goes up to a 39.1k HP, which is not bad for an epic, but not also that amazing. His attack at 7.1 is decent, and his physical and magic defense are still a little bit low at 3.7 and 3.8k. Looking at his skills, his first skill is a standard healer type skill that does a heal or an attack. The heal is 100 plus 100% of his attack, and the magic damage, if you choose to attack an enemy, is also 100 plus 100% of his attack as magic damage. As the skill is leveled up to the max at 6, the heal or the damage goes up to a very nice 910 plus 139% of his attack. This makes the skill, the damage part of it, not too bad, and the heal quite good, as he will be able to heal your enemy team for quite a lot of healing. Looking at his special skill, Mark of Radiance, this skill is a soul effect to any ally member or himself. What this soul effect does is that it marks them so that they heal by 50% of the amount healed whenever he heals another ally that's there. So, for example, if this heal is applied to himself and he heals another ally, he will receive 50% of that healing. However, the skill does get a very nice bonus when maxed out to 6. Once the skill is leveled up to 6, which is highly recommended, the skill goes up to 100%, and it can be applied to a max of 2 targets, whereas at lower levels it can be only put on 1 target at a time, meaning that if you select another target with this after applying it to 1, then it will be removed off the first target and put on the second one. Allowing this to be put on a max of 2 targets, though, at max level is very nice, and the 100% amount of healing makes him very good for healing multiple team members at the same time. A good way to use this skill would be to apply it to himself on one turn, and then apply it to perhaps a tank or a squishy DPS also on another turn. This way, as he heals the tank and your team, he will also be healing your squishy damage dealer and himself to make sure that he stays alive. Because no matter who he targets, whoever else has this will be getting the same amount of healing, allowing this to be a semi-AoE heal for a decent amount of HP. And this can be done with only using his normal skill to heal without having to use anything else, any other types of soul using skills for healing. Looking at his ultimate skill, this skill is a heal, but it is also a revive. This one heals the HP of an ally by 50% of his max HP. When used on a dead ally, it will revive the dead ally, and they'll be healed by 50% of his max HP. As this skill is leveled up to the max at 6, the healing goes up to a 100% of his max HP, meaning that if he has 40k HP and you revive a target that has 60k max HP, the target will revive with 40k HP, as the heal is based on his max HP, not the target's. If the target has less HP than him, for example 30k HP, and he has 40, they will be revived with their max HP at full. They will not have 40k HP or any additional bonus, but they will have max HP. This is a revive and a heal which is very good, and the heal can be quite substantial, especially when reviving DPS Elunes that have lower HP or similar HP to Fabian, making them revive with basically full HP. Looking in at his first passive, this one heals the HP of all allies by 20% of his attack every time he gets a turn. So the more turns that he gets, the more AoE heal that he does. This is not something you have to do or use or any type of extra thing, but it is just a nice little AoE heal for your team that does 20% of his attack, so having a decent amount of attack on him will increase the value of this heal as well as his normal attack heal too. His second passive. This one increases the weaken resist rate and status effect rate of all allies by 10% as long as he is alive. This means that they have a higher resistance rate by 10% as long as he is there, making him work well with others that also provide increased resistances, meaning making it more difficult for the enemy to land those debuffs. His third passive is a way to prevent him from dying, especially if the enemy team tries to target him first to kill him, as he is the healer and reviver. This will not allow him to die if he receives a killing blow. Instead, he will stay with 1 HP at the end, and he will gain a soul effect that gives him immunity to all damage and status effects for 1 turn. This can only be activated once per battle, so you cannot reset it in any way, and if he takes damage that kills him a second time, he will just die. But this allows him to survive until his turn, where he can then heal himself. This way he can survive a little bit longer, making him a little bit more annoying to deal with and not so easy to kill on turn 1 with a nuke from an enemy team. Looking at the skill gem effects, his first skill, which can be a heal or damaging skill, the recommended are blue, orange, green. The blue for the magic damage for doing the attack, the orange for the crit rate, and the green for the healing portion of this one. This skill, the recommended, is not bad to have, as it restores HP by 5% of the amount healed, meaning that anytime he heals someone other than himself, he receives 5% of the amount healed back to himself, meaning that anytime he heals anybody else, he will also heal himself, which is not a bad thing. This makes this skill as a heal also affect him regardless of who he targets, so it is not a bad effect to get applied for this one. The second skill, which is the soul buff that he gives, this one increases the chances of landing healing received as a crit by 5%. Meaning that once this is applied on anybody who has that mark of radiance, they have an increased chance of getting a crit heal by 5%, meaning that if he heals one target and another target has the mark of radiance, they have a chance, like any other heal, to have that heal land as a crit. But with this bonus effect on, they have a 5% increased chance of having that land as a crit to them when being healed by the Mark of Radiance effect. Again, this is not a bad effect, as it increases the crit rate, which increases the heal, but going with another green gem here could also be a viable option, instead just to increase the healing amount overall. Looking at his last skill, which is the revive and heal, this one is a green violent, and the skill and the effect of this one heals 10% additional HP when reviving an ally. This can be good, especially if he's reviving high HP allies, or where his HP, being an epic, can be a little low. This can be especially helpful when reviving any ally with high HP, like a tank, as this will revive an additional 10% of the healing amount. So if he has 40k HP and he revives a target, say with 60k HP, and they revive, standard would be 40k heal on them. With this doing an additional 10% when reviving the ally, then this will make that 40k up to a 44k, as well as the additional healing of the green gems. So, while you can go with an additional green gem instead of the violet, the green gem is not going to give you 10% additional healing when revived. So you can instead go with the violet gem, which would give more healing when you revive. However, if you're not using the revive and you're using this only as a heal, then the green gem would give you value in all cases, whereas the violet gem here will only give you the increased healing when reviving and not when using the skill as just a direct heal. Looking at his dimension slate, options that you would want to go for here are anything that helps him with survival. Physical magic defense are something you need to focus on him, as his stats are quite low. His HP would be good to use because that will give him bonuses to his last ultimate skill, revive or heal. The attack stat isn't bad, as his heals are based on attack, as well as his passive heal every time he gets a turn. He does have a very good base attack speed, and there is no real reason to have him move first in a battle, unless you're just wanting to make sure you have a little bit of extra healing on it. There is no reason to give that much attack speed to him, as long as his base is pretty decent and you have decent substats. His attack speed will be quite decent anyway. So focusing on his physical magic defense as well as HP are going to be something you want to do the most, because they will give him the highest chance of survival. Attack being an additional stat to focus on, just to give him that increased attack for doing better heals with his skill 1 and his passive healing. Looking at gear for him, there are several gear sets you can go with. The healer set is good because he does give more healing when using that set. The other set that you can go with is you can go with anything that increases his ability to heal. I would recommend an HP in the offhand, just to give him a little bit better survival. You can go with the full healer set, which is the Emperor set. If you do the full 6-piece Emperor set, which isn't bad, he doesn't have the HP in the offhand, but he does get the 30% crit rate to healing skills. As you do not necessarily need this, you can still go with a 3-piece Emperor set, which is also still very good for him, as it does give him 15% healing whenever he heals an ally who has a buff. This is good because you'll typically be running him on teams where you have a support buffing your allies, meaning that he'll give 15% bonus healing whenever he's healing any of those allies. The main stats you want to try to go for in substats here again are physical, magic defense, as well as HP. Anything to increase his stats, as he will need them. The ring, the Emperor's Ring, is a good recommended ring for a healer, for any healer, as this one does restore his HP by the amount equal to 5% of attack when using a healing or barrier skill. This means that every time he uses a healing or barrier skill, since he is a healer and all of his skills do heals, then every time he heals, he will be restoring his HP by 5% as well, giving him a little bit more increase to healing on himself. That's going to be it for this one. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Thank you.